Well, hello YouTube, and welcome back to The Daily Life. I'm your host, Tom Johnson. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2014, and today's topic is stationery. Stationery includes things like pens, notepads, uh, highlighters, uh, paper clips, push pins, tape, staples, and many more things. Uh, it's it's a important thing. Now I've just took a minute to show you some examples of what stationery is. Why do we need stationery? We need stationery because it would be hard to get anything done without it. Can you imagine trying to go to school without any pens or paper? It's easier to imagine in the day of computers, but when I went to high school, which is now many, many years removed from where I am now, it's scary how old I am, you couldn't go to high school without stationery. Sorry. I was checking my texts. um, I'm really sorry. I have to. There we go. My bad. I know it's rude, but it rang, and anyway. So this is a stationery. I actually got this stationery thing for free from. I don't know if you can read the. I can get it in close enough here. Motor Sales, McKeon Motor Sales. Plug for them. They are in a small little dealership where around I live, and that's where we buy all our cars. And it's a pretty cool place. And they give out free stationery. I also have a free calendar from them. I have a bulletin board which uses stationery. Stationery is a foundational thing. Now, how would we go to school without it? I mean, it would be hard. But as I said, now that they have computers, you can just type, and and it would be somewhat marginally easier. Some people don't even use computers, though. I mean, stationery is what people used to use. Then it was computers. I've heard of people who use their Blackberries to write essays. This was a few years ago that I heard this, so I'm sure people use their iPhones now. Plug for my company, I still use a Blackberry. Doesn't have anything to do with stationery, but you know, yeah. So that's what stationery does. It allows people to accomplish things. Now, some people get, another big component of stationery is business cards. Um, Business cards used to be a personal thing. People would have personal cards, and some people still do. Some people still do. They're usually older people though. The people that have personal cards. Cards are now usually used for business purposes. Where I live, there's been controversy about public money being used for expensive business cards, but that's a big issue, and I don't want to get into it because this show is supposed to be about minutia, and it is about minutia. As long as I'm running the show, and this is my show, and there would be no one else that could run it. So, yeah, minutia. What else can I say about stationery? Evidently, this was a topic that I should have thought out a little bit because I'm finding it hard to fill 10 minutes. And I may have to go to another topic that's related, but hey, Live television does that sometimes. You gotta improvise. This show is not scripted, it's taped live. Have I mentioned that, okay, well, everything's backwards. No, wrong way. I mentioned the studio lights are back on now. Last week they were off, but they're back on now. I think I'll do a plug, since I'm running out of things to talk about, even though we're only halfway through. Tune in on Friday, January 17th. That's this Friday, for our 50th anniversary celebration. You are going to see a different kind of set. There will be surprises. It will be a fun time. If you don't believe me, you're going to have to tune in on Friday. It's going to be a hell of a show. Stationery. I'm really running out of things to talk about here. Do you know that they have like whole stores that are just stationery stores? That's all they sell. I mean, usually when you think of stationery, you go to a big box store, like you go to Walmart or your Target or your Zellers. Well, not really anymore. Sears. You go to your, I don't know, Barnes and Noble for Americans. I guess they sell books, so that's not the best example, but I think they do have stationery. Go to your local university bookstore. I know mine's got a bajillion stationery things. Grand and Toy. Office Depot. Office Place doesn't exist anymore. So now some of those stores that I just mentioned actually are only stationery stores, but most of them are big box stores. They sell other things. Why would you have a store that was just stationery, though? Someone want to fill me in on this? You know, I mean, what would be the point of that? I can think of a million other things that you could just sell besides stationery. Some of the people who work in stationery stores are really weird. Like, you start asking them questions, and they launch into this 5-minute discussion versus, like, you know, Papermate pens versus Bix pens. It's like, I don't really care. I want my pens. Like, I don't really give a two hoots whether it's Bix or Papermate. But some of them get really like, oh, you have to do Bix. I mean, it rolls better and it smudges less, and it's like, it's a pen. Papermate. I think I got a box of Papermates down in here someplace. Yeah, I do. It's the kind of pens that I use, and they're good pens. I said this was kind of a fancy pen that I got for free. Let's check out a Papermate pen, though. Here it is. Simple blue. I like blue ink. Just looks better. And it says Papermate. This particular box of Papermate pens says 12 ballpoint pens, blue ink, 1 millimeter in thickness. Guaranteed to write every time. Another cool thing that they have, while I'm on the subject of pens, they have like the astronaut pen that can write upside down. That is pretty cool. They've done TV shows on that. Hey, look at this. If you watched my beach episode, look what I just found. Did an episode on the beach a little while ago, and I used these babies to give you the illusion that I was on a beach. Okay. Managed to get through that show. That's good. I hope you found it not boring. The next 3 shows I can promise will not be boring because they are on subjects that are interesting. This was kind of a boring subject. Not so for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm not going to tell you, well, you know what Friday's episode is on. It's the 50th anniversary special. I'm not going to tell you Thursday, but I will tell you tomorrow's episode on Daily Life is air travel. A lot of things to talk about there. Tune back tomorrow. For all of us here at Daily Life, I'm your host, Tom Johnson.